pal. Just overall thoughts on today's game.
Very, 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 very poor first half. I was missing hunger and desire. Some players are full. Some players are full, and they don't understand what is it and what is required to play for such a club like Phoenix Rising. And for me, it's a shame. It's really a shame. Luckless, you know. Challenged them at halftime, and they reacted. But that should not be the norm. When you play this game of football, it starts with respecting the game. Understanding that you are part of a game, you've been given an opportunity to do something with your talent. And some of them right now are wasting their talent.
How different is the feeling this week compared to last, and maybe even the last two technically?
Same.
It's the same.
Which is, we know we can be better. And there has to be a realization in people.
What was you said you challenged them at halftime.
Yeah.
What was the gist of the message of the challenge?
How much you want it? How much you want it? Are you hungry or are you full? And there was particular 4 people that showed me that they're really hungry to make a difference. And I was very happy with them. Our subs made a good impact of the game. Pap showed me that he's very hungry. JP showed me that he's very hungry. Danny showed me that he's very hungry. Charlie showed me that he's very hungry. Emma showed me that he's very hungry. Esenge showed me that he's hungry as well.
And then from afar, you sit there at the touchline after the third goal goes in, and you see your group collect themselves and gather themselves in between, you know, their space and come together as one group. What's your thoughts on that? And did that give you a certain, you know, sense that you guys might have the hunger within some players after they came together and said, "Hey, we have to sort this out before we get to break"?
I'm happy that they did, but it should have not come to that. You don't need that to come to that. Because as soon as the whistle goes, either you're ready or you're not. And many of them are not ready. Some of them are not ready. They don't know what is it to be a professional football player. They pretend to be football players, but they're not.
Coach, last week we spoke about, you know, the team getting punched early in the face at the start of the game, and unfortunately we saw it again tonight. And then obviously coming back again, how do you make those second half moments? How do you start off on the right foot, in your opinion? Is there a mentality change that needs to happen?
Me and you should play Lotto, because I'm still trying to figure that part out. But it's mostly on your mindset, right? On the mindset.
And then Daniel Flores, you know, we kind of saw him transition into somewhat of a winger alongside, I believe it was Dennis on the left-hand side. What was the point behind that?
Because we knew that offensively he can give a lot, and I was very happy with him because first half also he was finding space, he was taking the space, he was causing a little bit trouble. You know, like I said, you know, he's from here, so it means a lot to him, this club, all right? And so does it for JP. You know, they're playing with their heart out, and that is admirable. But he was very good today, Danny, and you know, he stood up for his brother. Even though he wasn't a yellow card, he stood up for his brother in Remy. And for me, I love players like that.
Can you take us through your thought process in not starting Pop tonight, given some of the defensive challenges? We saw how effective he can be in defensive transition in the second half. Can you take us through that?
Well, obviously, you know, again, Pop was Emes. You know, he carries a lot of responsibility, you know, and that's why I made him captain, because he cares and he wants it. And he's been a little bit unfortunate, and you build him back. And when you talk about hunger, that's a guy with that straight hunger, right? It's somebody that deeply cares about the club as well, right? It's a hunger for him. And for me, he earned my maximum respect, because as a captain, it's not easy not to able to play games, because you want to play games. And we've had success, obviously, with Colin Esseng as a centre back, but not one time has he come and complained. Not one time has he put his head down. You know, and every single day he comes in to work, to work, to work. And that's the type of player I like. That comes in and gonna give me tough choices to make as a coach. I love it.
How do you make that contagious? How do you get that to everybody else in this group when you talk about, some are full and some are...
Well, it starts with your hunger. If you don't have hunger, if you don't have hunger, it's difficult, right? If you don't have hunger, it's difficult. Or if you don't have self-awareness.
We saw Jean-Eric get his first start, or first minutes.
Yes.
A couple misplaced passes, but I mean, maybe some of that's to be expected. What did you make of his debut?
Well, I think he came in good. I think he came in very good in a very tough situation. Giving a little bit of transition, you down, but I think he gave us that little bit of stall in there, a little bit of calmness. Obviously, there will be some missed passes, because it's your first time playing a game with the new teammates. But his energy, his desire is infectious. And it's a guy that he's gonna bring that to the team, and I'm looking forward to him, starting games.
Second straight week we've seen Emmers come on for Noble.
Yeah.
What did you kind of make from him, and what kind of, it seemed like he provided a little bit of a spark, especially kind of...
No, I did. Emmers came with a hunger and desire, like you could tell. He was already pissed off from last week, and you could tell that he was tired of it. But again, you command his mentality, right? He fought, he worked, and that is always something that you admire in people, and drive. And I wish he could have get a goal because of the work that he put through. And you even see it at the last moment, freaking tracking down and making a play. That's what this game is about, right? And some of them are relying on too much talent. Talent it's a gift that if you don't take care of it, you will lose it.
With Charlie, and you've said it every time we've asked about Charlie this year, in terms of you want to get him closer to goal, you want him to be involved in the goals. You get that tonight. Yeah. You've gotten that often this year.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it a lot this year as well, about him being a substitute a lot of the times.
Yeah.
When he starts like he does tonight, and you see what you see tonight, how do you see him fitting into this team as a starter going forward, or is he still kind of maybe this just spark-plug player?
No, listen, for me it's very simple. It's very simple. It's either you want it or you don't want it, and he wants it. Every time you put him, whether it's for 1 minute or you play 90 minutes, he wants it. Charlie wants it, and you have to commend that. And this means a lot to Charlie as well. Today he walked on the pitch with his daughter. I know what it means for him, and he showcased that on the pitch. Every time we call his number, he stood up, and that showcases character, that showcases desire, that showcases will, right? And that's what we have, right? That's one also thing that should not get lost, because it takes a lot to always want to come back. It takes a lot. But I want to change that into winning habits.
After the final whistle, Vic was holding you back a bit there from afar at least. Was anything said or done after the final whistle?
I don't know even who he was. Some people, they try to do something and think and they want to talk, but it's easy to talk. I'm more of an action guy.
In that same sentiment, there was a lot of chatter, a lot of talking on the penalty kick. And the quietest guy there, the guy that put 2 feet on the penalty spot for the entire time, was Remy. And then he steps up and delivers a penalty kick like that. What kind of confidence does it take in a player to have that type of mentality in that big of a moment?
Well, Remy will never shy away from those situations, and that's what I say again. That's why I say like you cannot fault them, because it's not that they're not trying, but it's understanding that when your moment is there, you got to take it. And he's a guy that, you know, wake him in his sleep and he's ready to take the penalty. So there was no doubt in him and his confidence, because it never wavered, because he's been massive for us this year and continue to be. And unfortunately, injury has derailed him a little bit. But again, you know, he comes in, he gives everything that he has. So to be able to do that, you know, it's ice cold.
New Mexico next week. Derby, we've talked about that enough in the other 2 times you've played them. You guys have had some crazy games against them this year.
Yeah.
What will it take from your group over these next 5 days of training to be prepared mentally, to have the hunger from the start to win a game like that, as important as it's going to be this late in the year?
I mean, it just goes back, and it goes back to the realization of take care of your opportunities that you're given in life. And the biggest thing I told them is, you don't want to have a regret. Sometimes for footballers, they don't realize it, but having regret is the worst thing you can have. But when it's a derby week, you're not playing for yourself, you're playing for the fans. That's what derby week is about. And when you get an opportunity in a lifetime, you have to take it, because it means something. I don't want to play football anymore, but I wish I can play derby games, because those games matters. Right? Every game matters, but you want to put some extra on it, especially against your rivalry, you better be ready.